Guys, welcome back to the Dion Gaming channel. If this is not going to be something that I write or anything like that, this is just something that I'm going to do just straight up out of the air. I usually write what my contents down and then I proceed to make it nice and neatly or something like that. This is technically going to talk about some things with the balance as well and some things with the mentality between the speedrunners and the casuals, because there's a different type of mentality when thinking about a specific card, nerf, and so on. When I thought of Emmy long ago, and you can see a videos about that back here very long ago, you can see something called balance and representation, balance before and balance before release. That actually talked about Emmy, how that actually ruined the mechanics of the game. After a month, if you actually look at the time, after a month, I actually went ahead and found out that many of the casual actually uses the AMI because it makes it so much easier to beat map. There's a lot of people who are not very skilled at this game and just want to play the fun and nostalgia way. Which I asked many of some of the dev. I asked it, why not go with the ability to have AMI to be used with 4 people instead of 1 person, because then you have each person fighting for an AMI, and then sometimes you have a map where AMI is used and the person is much faster, like Dwarf Riddle, and then the other people don't have enough time to actually react. You actually can see a post about that in the main forum, and that's why I say fuck it, nerf the AMI, I really don't care or anything like that. It's because of that specific reason. However, looking it into that way, I looked at it in 2 ways, and I have talked to speedrunner who are completely toxic, and I have talked to speedrun who has more of a social aspect of speaking with someone, like they're very calm and everything, and they try to represent their idea. Majority mentality is speedrun, but this still presented their arguments and so on, and I had a better time talking with them. In those specific aspects, I explained that you can technically not nerf Amy a monument because the casual are going to be fucking pissed, and then at the same time the speedrunners are going to be spicked. So in the casual sense, when we look at the whole mechanic, we try to look at both sides of the spectrum. When speedrunner are trying to look at the mentality of a balance, they look at the speedrun only mentality. They never care about the casual. In fact, I have seen and people have shown me screenshots saying that, you know, for example, treim does not consider the casual people any relevant for any discussion of this speedrun. They don't matter or anything like that. And I also have another person, which I'm not going to name in here, which he said that casual really doesn't matter in some of the aspects that I've talked to, like the Batario King explanation right here, or the Batario replay LSS deck. When I was promoting Batario, when it has been increased the uses of a Batario by a huge amount, and at the same time my Lost Soul deck plus the Lost Soul splash has been increased dramatically. You can actually see that right here in the Batario and replay LSS deck. When I spoke about here, the player, specific player, has taught me that this is almost hard to do in 10, in our RPVE 10 and everything. And I told him why. He was giving me his explanation about Wrathgazer and stuff like that, like he will die technically, and also and all that. Doesn't mean that you can't summon another one, but again, he would die very easily, something like that. And when I did an RPV 10, there was about 4th Wrathgazer who touched me, and what happened was that my friend had a Maelstrom, and well, technically a friend. We don't talk as much, but it's someone that I went with. He had a Maelstrom, he froze him, and then I clear everything. When you have something with someone, I explained to him, you're doing this map not to go alone. Yes, it's called the one-man army, Batario, but you're not technically going alone unless you really want to, and that's on you, whatever happens next. Unless you summon another Batario for a decoy, and then you use a CC like Frenetic Assault and then Infect, and then something that keeps you alive or anything like that. But technically it's 2-2 on the east side. Sometimes those two join together and then they fight everything through, or sometimes again, so people who like to play the one-man army Batario, which is not what I name of here. I did name it in the game because that's the political term of the deck, but technically I wouldn't want to go alone with my Batario. I would always to have someone next to me, because that's the point of the RPV4, to go into 2 sections, so all 4 of them together and so on. So in that mentality, they always talked about the speedrun, but never anything about the casual players. And for speedruns, their technical terms is that RPVE 10 equals speedrun. However, RPV 9 is actually casual. It's not actually something that is above they don't consider doing much of those. But again, the majority of the players, if you actually go for the RPVE maps and stuff like that, you only majority will find RPVE 9, not 10. And let me tell you the reason right is I found one person finally yesterday. I didn't make a video, but I'm making it. I'll make it later. I'll put it later in this video. What happens was that this person waited about maybe like 15 or 20 minutes or so for everyone to fill up for the group for RPV 10, and I asked him how long it was and all that stuff, and then I stood there just to see, and then I explained to him that majority of the player actually goes to RPV 9. RPV 10 is something that only a few players may ever be do, and that's majority of the speed runners. And again, the speed run is different than casual. Casual joins in groups that we don't know each other, and speed runs are people who actually go together in every single map. They have their own group. For example, if you guys treim, then you have a treim, Lebovin, and you will have what's the other guy named Wanki, and then yeah, Prift. Those will be like a team that they will go again. If you go with Halis, I think Halis will have Lorians and some and Durakev, I think, and some and maybe Mephisto. I'm not sure, but again, I didn't study too much of the Halis side. I did study more of the ones on the left side. So again, they may have their own group, but they may make a deck specifically for the 10 RPV 10, and at the same time, they go together. It's not something casual that you go in there and something bad happen. Now in that map, the first map, I haven't done RPV 10 since I started. Like I did it in first player. I did one or twice in RPV 10, and then after that I never did it again. It's just too much of hassle for 2k gold if you can actually go RPV 9, and at the same time you can go to Sunbridge and get like 10 to 12k gold or something, 8k gold in 20 minutes, which is better than RPV 9 and 10 if you just disenchant the card. So when I actually spoke about this, the specific of the Batario, they said that it doesn't really matter what you use in RPV 9. No other deck is going to be more efficient than another deck, which actually technically is a wrong statement because majority of the players speak with action instead of with word. The cards that you do see out there are the LSS deck on Splash, and you also see the Batario deck majorly being played in the RPV 9 as well. So there are basically a lot of video of this. I did put specifically once in here the LS variation examples, and you can see the Batario King explanation, and you can also see the Batario End replay LLS deck. Also, if you want to see some videos out there, I can actually put it up, but if you actually look, I think is the one of these two right here. One of these three has the one with a time step that you can actually see other players playing the LLS deck majorly in RPV 9 or Batario. And there is another video called, it is very too long, I don't advise actually watching it, but that's only for the representative, which is called the balanced representative. Read the description because it's very toxic as well, because I go very hard against these representative because we only have technically speedrunners and PvP. We really don't have a PvE representative that talks on both sides. And to be honest, to tell you about that, many people will think that a speedrunner is just like a PvE, they know everything on the map. Guess what? Speedrun has a speedrun mentality. They never have a casual mentality. They never speak about that. So any of the balance will be in that category. They never jumped out. Now I haven't spoken too much with Halis to test them, but I've spoken to other people who are in the top ranking, and their mentality is right there. They do not represent any of the casual players at all. Like they said, the casual, it has no relevant into a discussion or anything like that. So the reason why I actually proposing that is because you can actually see some of the videos about right here, and you can actually see some of the talks that they put around here specifically. So let's actually put it, I don't know what this is. This is announcement, and this is actually the Lost Spirit ship and stuff like that. Now there is technically a video about that called, again, the balance of representative and representations. Sorry, and then you can actually see how I cut these whole paragraph and their meaning into 3 words, because that's what it all comes down to. So if you actually read all this, and later on you see like the idea that I gave, because that's, if they're bugging so much about this, I gave an idea that has been received well, and people have stopped voting because this has been thrown into the backlogs. But again, it has been received well because people don't want the other type of nerf. I just want to cut the damage for ships here not moving. Again, that receipt was 6 no, especially me. And everything right here is pretty much them speaking about three words, which I'll go over very, very quickly, and we're actually going to keep going all the way down. So this is the last one. This actually was today. I actually saw this. I always keep an eye on it. I also keep a screenshot of the vote because it can be manipulated, by the way. Someone of the representative can definitely take these votes off if they wanted to, without nobody notice it. I had someone test it for me. But again, I always keep a screenshot of this right here. So in majority of the past scribes, we were still winning over yes. Some of the people have stopped, but again, it has about 33 yes for that one and about 37 for SM, which you can keep in mind because again, they went back to a talk over here is saying that we should go with the idea of removing MS not back, but that's what makes LSS LSS, you know. When they fight boss, they only shoot 2 turrets, and you can see that on my videos. So if you have like 10 or everything like that, each of those will fight, even with motivate and even with flame crystal, which you can see that in the video called the LSS example, which shows about 3 ways to play with the Lost Spirit ship: air unit and ground unit and my Lost Soul deck. Basically, this is right here, LSS variation example. You'll see that when you even use motivate and the flame crystal, it does not kill something like Commander Skywalker or anything like that quickly, and the reason that is because it only shoots 2 turrets, which also was explained to in the LLS explanation video. So again, they're trying to go with that, and I already posted a screenshot to them saying that the vote shows already that there is 37 no completely and hardly any vote yes on the remove them. You can see all 37 by right clicking here, and you can look at the reaction, and you can basically see both sides right here. Like you can see this one right here for the sorry, not this one specifically, this one specifically. You can see this one right here by the yes, and then you can see this one right here by the no and such. So moving on to that, for it, I actually went ahead and I have actually cut their statement down. Let me actually start right here, maybe on IQ, and then move to statement 1. Actually, right here to move to statement 1. I actually cut their thing down. Everything that is green is actually speedrun. Everything is purple is something you should pay attention and so on. So such as this guy saying, I see this card is supported LS since it's only the way to heal your unit beside blood healing, which is not great. It's not that great for LS, which is true. I tried it before and stuff like that, but it's not that great. It's great with the LSS just using it. You can see videos about that in an example. Then I saw an example that during that time I was the only one using the armor tower. You can see it on top of here. This actually all numbers is on mine, because when I use armor tower and I use 4 to 5 ships, that's about 2 towers for each of those ships. And you can see many of my videos are using that tower. During that time, people actually never use the recycle, which I did talk to a speedrunner saying, why does it matter if someone uses the ability or not? And the reason matters is because they're speaking about these specific things in the main talk about the Discord. So if we're about talking about the whole LSS, we're talking about the whole reason about being nerfed and why it shouldn't be nerfed and stuff like that. So I fought very hard, and it's still fighting in these days very hard for the Lost Spirit ship to stay the way it is. Again, the Lost Spirit ship did get nerfed. One thing that people don't actually keep in mind about that, you can see a pre-nerf on it. I have talked to Halis about that. Had big conversation with Halis, had big conversation with Level 1, had big conversation with other people who are speedrunners and stuff like that, back and forward and such, which I again, when they told me this nerf and stuff like that, if this has been nerfed, I always ask why did they try to nerf it again? And majority of the nerf is actually speedrunners such as Treim, Priv, and his buddy group and stuff like that, trying to make it skill wise. Here's my 2 fingers, skill wise, because again, if you actually watch a video about RBV Battleground 10, and then someone told me that was pre-nerf, not the nerf one. The shows someone using Ami, a bunch of Lost Soul Spirit ship, and then clearing the whole map and stuff like that. But someone had Halis basically said to me that that's actually pre-nerfed. This is not the nerf version of it. I don't think it's going to be easy to use the Lost Spirit ship the way you used it back then, because again, you had a 4200 DP and all of this one, and then you have this as their HP and DP and stuff like that. So that's a big difference. So in the F 4250 and then 2960, that's a huge difference. So Halis is not in this discussion or anything like that, but that is very a good data to keep in mind. So that's the reason why I actually talked to him and stuff like that. Moving to statement 2, you actually can see this again in a balanced representation where I actually cut everything into specific words and so on. And when you do cut, and this is basically what they want to nerf right here. This is what they want as a nerf. So that's what the orange mean and stuff like that. And when you look at each one of them, every representative talking about this is all cut up into one specific problem. Splash damage, too easy. Well, technically it's three sentences, or cannot be 3 words, but 3 sentences. It's splash damage. The way of the splash damage, the way of the speed run, and the way of the too easy for casual. So as you already see, for example, statement 1 right here will show that he says that I generally agree with the sentiment that it's too good for casual. Why is it important that it's too good for casual? Batario is also too good for casual. You can actually see a statement right here that kind of screwed him on this one when trying to say 60 effort versus 100, and LS 20 efforts is equal 95 for the casual play. Let me tell you right now that is technically maybe right and maybe bullshit. And the reason why I say this is because now that I made the promotion for the Batario back then, and then I made a video about Batario. Back then, when I show people about Batario, the potential of the Batario dex has been increased dramatically because it's goddamn easy. All buffs goes on top of it. You can watch that video right here in the Batario clean explanation, Batario and replay LSS deck. These two, and then you can actually see some of the part 2 and part 1 and so on, and you can see how easy it is to the point that casuals right now, and you have screenshots showing there, that wants to play the Batario. Now in technicality, it showed right here in the bottom something that he did said that he has to check, where he says the closest target per month with the difficulty average at above for players, blah blah blah, would be at 19 with the LSS. There are only 2 other players that beat that map, both around 20-30 mark. I don't know that one of the teams stated that they played Bata. So here's the thing is, at one point I stopped supporting the game. You can see a video about that somewhere around here. I start supporting the game, and the reason that is because there were manipulations in the representative right here. I asked for a vote. I asked for a nerf on Batario, which technically is not going to be Batario, it's going to be Enlightenment. That actually has not been received well. They don't want that nerfed, and has not been logged into it. And they have had discussion about Batario before, they said, but they said that it doesn't need it or anything like that, and it wasn't put out here for them to talk. So the reason why I wanted that is to show that it's funny that these representatives want this nerf, but they don't want Batario nerfed in the case of Enlightenment and so on. When both decks are very easy to play, and again, taking Treim's word is too easy for casual, you know? So if that is the statement for the LLS as well, then Batario should be hit the same way. It's equal the same way. So again, they didn't hit that, but I came back because in the backlog, if you actually go scroll somewhere around here for the discussion for Profane, and you actually scroll up, there has been now some more votes. There are votes in here for Enlightenment being talked to. We have Obren, Chibik, me, and then we have someone here, Leboman, obviously speedrunner, Dalid, and Dutif TV or something like that. Going for a no. Now that they have this in here, I started supporting the game again because there's seem to be less of that, less of the representative, which are majority speedrunner and majority PvP, controlling this type of votes and stuff like that. Because again, if they're going to nerf LSS in their way, then I'm going to fight and try to nerf Batario because it makes the same sense. Because their statement equals the same for Batario when they comment to easy to casual. Now, a vote that I did right here when I actually talked to a representative, this was a long time ago. These are the representatives talking to me back, where one of them specifically said, I think they start better, blah, 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 lower the old requirement rather than increase it. At the moment, I can post a suggestion, your name, but I won't vote yes. That vote was basically the 2 Frost and 2 Shadow that I talked with Lagops, talked with Chibi, I talked with a lot of representatives in there that they should put, if they are so mad about them being splash damage, because that's all that their argument is. Too easy for casual, speedrun, talks, and splash deck. Splash deck being on the top of the thing in here, of the argument for the nerf of it. A bunch of LSS with regrowth, or maybe equilibrium, or maybe revenge, and you can see videos about that. You can jump into the example right here, where if you click on it, you're going to see the LSS out there with heals and such. All ships, you're going to see it with ground unit abilities. Let me actually cut this off right here. This is actually the one with the Lost Soul and so on, but again, you actually can go a little bit more further than that, and you can actually see me using flame crystals. And so I'll see right here, flame crystals, Shrine of War, a bunch of the ships. Motivate, if you actually look at the bottom right here, because I wanted to try it on it. Later on, finding out that they actually use it. The speedrunner actually uses Motivate. Other people that have made the LLS 10 for BG, which you can look again in the video, have not used Motivate. I started using Motivate because I wanted to check it. Did not need holy power, maybe holy hero, but I did not need holy power for this or anything like that. But when you actually go ahead and fight a boss, they only shoot two goddamn turret, which makes it take long to kill. This is the reason why you have a partner with you who has a what's it called, XL damage or something like that, or maybe you have Batario out there with the ships and that'll destroy everything. So let me actually fast forward right here. Let me actually move it a little bit more back. Look how the because I'm summoning some ships and stuff like that. Look how the two ships has two turrets shooting at it, and I'm using motivating crystal, and I'm still shooting two on it. God damn, that takes quite long. If I did this to another like XL unit with ground unit, they will murder our commander in this game. So again, you can actually watch a bunch of these videos as a self-defense for what they're trying to do for the nerf. This is the reason why I love Sync's balance proposal, where he said, focus on what being said, not who is saying it. Analyze the criticized idea, not people. Let's not make this a popularity contest. Being good at the game does not necessarily mean that you really understand the game. I've seen good players make some really silly balance suggestion over the year. That being said, high-level players tend to have better understanding on the game nuances. That's true, and some people think that I'm a high-level player. I am a normal player, a casual player. I have been insulted being called a speedrun by them showing me these type of screenshot. I took this screenshot myself right here because this one is specific to the Batario. The Slave Master was the 32 minutes, which is a horrible time by the way, was actually made with the Batario. And these ones was someone basically accusing me of being a speedrunner because they saw me in some ranking and stuff like that, which I'm not. This is just, for example, Blight is just me having fun in solo. And there's people, if you look at right now for all time, there's people, for this month, you see people doing better timing, 55 minutes and stuff like that. Those I would say is speedrunner or less than that, maybe if they go 40 minutes or anything like that. Same thing for here. If you look at all time, you can see who's the real speedrunners are in this game and such. Not me. However, I'm not in the higher level player, but still, even though I'm not a higher player, I do have some ideas which was proved to be right, and that's the reason why we go into the what is it called right here in the public votes, where the idea of Two Frost and Two Shadow was received very well, plus the idea of them having Lost Dragon. I mean, what is more, they call skills, they say they're moving, Chibi said that moving A to B does not equal skill, which then he agreed. Treim agreed with that. But Treim did said that having a chase of a turret, like the way they don't target, they just shoot anything and then you can kite back and forward if you wanted to, and that's no skill. But that's why Chibi said moving from point A to point B doesn't mean any skill or anything like that. So he wanted made it more of the ship standing still and so on. So that way it deals more damage or something like that, or just deals no more damage or something like that, or whatever it is. However, you shouldn't actually change this Lost Spirit ship just because you want it for your speed runs. Now, when I made the suggestion, I also put I say either take Lost Warlord or Lost Dragon if you want it, and that can technically, in his sense, will require more skills. Two fingers. To be honest with you, skill is only in PvP. You can't see it technically in casual or in speedrun. No offense to those guys, but PvP is where it's actually at. The skill is in PvP. But I put the Lost Dragon is because if you actually look at the example for the Lost Dragon, you can see that you can actually tap into these dragon and focus on Bandit Walker. It'll shut it down. Wrathgazer will shut it down. Buildings, Wild Sapper, all that stuff, they hurts. or building that does bombard or anything like that, that shuts it down. So what's most for him, if he's talking about more skill, then here, have a Lost Dragon. The Lost Dragon you can use as a skill by shutting down all these things without being able to move. They can't even do damage, so your if you're playing Lost Warlord, it will not die. If you're playing Overlord, which is actually better, it will not die or anything like that, and you can move forward. So again, they're still going to be talking about this on the Lost Spirit ship, but again, the mentality, when I spoke to Speedrunner, and I spoke specific map and stuff like that, their mentality are always speedrun. That's the reason why when I had that argument with someone, which I love having argument with that specific person because we go back and forward. But you know, I don't block him or anything like that. I still talk to that person. I still even, if he's talking to me right now, I still would talk more about that person because again, if we disagree and we end up disagreeing, we'll call it the let's agree to disagree, and that's it. And we leave it the discussion there. And if another discussion come up, we'll start talking about it. I talking to some speedrunner, but however, the mentality is always speedrun, and that's why when they're talking about the Batario, when I talked about the Batario on one of the videos, I said that RBV E9 is what the majority are playing, not RBV E10. The next video that I will show is some instant of the RBV E10 and what actually happened inside, which when I go to my documents, and I go to documents right here, and I go to Battleforge, and I go to replay. I call them ouch 10. Let me see. Yeah, I call them ouch 10, ouch 102, ouch hilarious, because they're all failed basically in RBV 10. But the first one failed completely bad. The second one was okay, but someone left. The other ones show a turret and a enemy attacking me right off the bat, like before I could even summon the unit, they were already attacking the monument. All that is going to be shown on the best video. But again, guys, if you like your Lost Spirit ship or anything like that, come to the public vote and vote for whatever you think it feels good. Whether it is the nerf of this one right here, which was a suggestion I posted to Chibi on the Pacific I took these out because obviously showing names is actually wrong, but I do this technically for this suggestion, which already has 33 yes and 23 no's. Or you can actually go ahead and start voting for the SM knockback, which is where Treim and Emerald and everybody else is technically leading at. You can go to the Lost Soul Spirit ship right here and see this whole discussion, which is still going. It's gonna keep going or anything like that, and then you can give your own specific idea. I know a lot of people only play it here, they don't want to get into politics because again, it's just sometimes when you speak with some people, it's like talking to a wall. They don't want to move or budge or anything like that, and some people may be toxic about it, and some people feel that because they're leisure, as you know what the guy said over here, some people feel that because they're leisure or maybe they're casual, maybe they're not that good, that they don't have an opinion in the matter of the deck that they may play and stuff like that. And that's the reason why I did like the specific representation that he made for this one, and that guy's name is Zinkt, which again was already we had a more discussion over here. I actually typed something, he typed something, Arius typed something, and so on. And you can see this all right here, the Zinkt balance proposal for his idea and so on. Once again, you guys should check out my videos if you want to see the LSS, how that thing worked, Batario as well, how easy it is to play, and I'll be seeing you on the next video. Sorry for this video being quite long.